Some exciting news that I wanted to share with you. I am delighted to announce my new book. It's called Hide Your Children, Exposing the Marxists Behind the Attack on America's Kids. I'm really excited to tell you guys about this. I've been keeping it a secret for about a year because one of my pet peeves is when someone announces that they've written a book and I'm like, that book sounds awesome. I can't wait to read it. Let me go buy it. And I go to the Amazon page and it's not out for like 8 months. And I'm like, dang, I wanted to read that now, not next year. So I kept this a secret so that you can pre-order this book if you so choose. I invite you to pre-order it and it will be in your mailbox in just a few weeks. It's out in September, so not too long to wait. This book has been a long time coming and it relates to many of the things that we talk about on the show, but it's also, I want to say like 20 steps deeper. 20 steps deeper in the sense that it's no secret. You and I understand the reality of the political enemy that we face, right? We know that the left is waging a deliberate and relentless attack on our children. And then this is not new. This is not something that just happened since COVID, this assault on children. In fact, the left has been re-engineering our society for almost a century now. And unfortunately, they've been very successful in doing so. They've captured 4 out of the 5 of what I would call our foundational cultural institutions. They've captured the media, they've captured the education system, they've captured religion, they've captured the law, and they've just about destroyed the family to just about. There's one element of the family that's left standing, and that is children, which explains why the left is coming after our children in such an aggressive way that it's not just conservatives who are saying, whoa, wait a second. It's parents across the country who are recognizing that our children are facing an attack the like of which we've never seen. Now, when I say this has been a long time coming, one of the questions that I addressed in writing this book is, well, where have conservatives been? If our institutions have been captured by the left and this institutional capture has been taking place for decades, what have conservatives been doing to fight against this? And the answer to this question is not particularly flattering to conservatives and to the Republican Party. Conservatives have been blithely unaware, to put it plainly. They've been, they've put their heads in the sand. We haven't fought back as actual Marxists have infiltrated our institutions, indoctrinated our children, subverted and plotted to overthrow our nation. And I understand that it can be hard to believe that actual Marxists are behind this attack on America's kids, just like it's been difficult for parents, and people in my own family are even guilty of this. So this is not something that it's like a vague accusation. It was hard for parents to believe that something like critical race theory was in schools until they saw it with their own eyes on Zoom school during the COVID lockdowns. It's hard to believe that Marxists are the ones orchestrating this attack. So what I do in this book is I name the names of the people who are behind the capture of our institutions, the people who are behind this attack on America's kids, on our children, our sons and daughters. And I offer a solution that I will tell you right now, I will be very blunt, is different than the solution offered to you by the Republican Party. A solution that would allow us to recapture our institutions and save our children. We have to save our children, not just for the sake of their individual souls, but because if the left successfully captures our children, we're done as a nation. We are done. This is an incredibly urgent problem that we're facing. And this book, by the way, I want to give you just a little background on the process of writing this book. And anybody who wants to pre-order this, I would be so honored if you would pre-order this book. You can go to Amazon, you can go to Barnes & Noble, you can go to hideyourchildrenbook.com to put your pre-order in now. It'll be in your mailbox in just a few weeks if you do this. And I would be so grateful. Tag me on Instagram or tweet this at me. Let me know that what you think of this. I can't wait for you to read it, but let me know if you put it in a pre-order because I want to interact with you. I want to be excited about this. This has been such a long time coming. The second half of this book, so this book is divided into 2 parts. The first half is establishing the people behind the assault on America's kids in various different ways, right? The education system, religion, homeschooling, technocracy. There's a whole bunch of different cultural institutions that the left has subverted in order to target our kids. So the first half of the book, I establish the people who are behind this plot to subvert our institutions. And it's deep stuff, right? Like this is not your walk through the park to understand that this is not just arbitrary stupidity. This is not just impractical, unwise liberal policies. This is an actual plot to subvert our nation. So that's the first half of the book. And the second half of the book, I would say I'm particularly proud of the second half of this book because it reflects an evolution in my own thinking about our country, something fundamental that I've changed my mind about since I began to be active in conservative politics. And it's not always easy to sit up in front of people and say, listen, I was wrong about something and I've changed my mind. But this is something very fundamental that I've changed my mind about. The second half of my book reflects an evolution in the way that I have thought about our country. When I first began to be active in conservative politics, I was very young. I was in late high school and early college. And let's just say my birthday was yesterday and I turned 34. So you can do the math. I'm not going to do the math on TV and admit how long it's been that I've been active in conservative politics. But I want to actually illustrate what happened to change my mind on something fundamental. So in 2016, that was 8 years ago now, it was the first year that I was invited to speak at CPAC. And it was a phenomenal experience because this is actually a tangential story, but I still think it's a funny one. I was scheduled to speak late in the afternoon at CPAC, and Marco Rubio, this was during the primary before Trump had become the nominee in 2016, Marco Rubio was supposed to headline CPAC at noon that day. And the room was packed to the rafters. There were like 5,000 people in that room, and Rubio was running late. He was running late, and the organizers of CPAC came up to me. I was at CPAC all day, and they said, hey, Liz, can you change the time of your speech? Can you actually speak now so that we can fill this block while Rubio's just running maybe 30 minutes late? Can you fill this now instead of speaking later on in the afternoon? And I was like, heck yeah, I can. This room is packed. Of course, I'd love to go up and open for Marco Rubio. So I did. I went up, and the first speech I'd ever given at CPAC, I opened for Marco Rubio, and that was in, like I said, 2016. You remember the feeling of the 2016 Republican primary. In front of 5,000 people. And afterwards, in the lobby, I was doing interviews with a lot of reporters and news organizations that were talking to people about who their preferred candidate was and just about Republican politics in general. And one independent journalist comes up to me and asks me a very philosophical question, nothing about the primary, nothing about the candidates. He asks me, how do you define liberty? What do you think the role of liberty is in our government? And I answered him, and I gave him a very libertarian answer. I said, well, I believe that the role of government is to protect our inherent God-given rights, the rights that were spoken about in the Declaration of Independence, the right to life, the right to liberty, the right to pursue happiness, which is just another phrase for the right to pursue property or the right to the fruits of your labor. And gave him that answer. And I said, government should pretty much stick to making sure that people don't violate those rights and basically otherwise get out of our business. And this journalist or this reporter says to me, okay, well, do you support the legalization of hard drugs? Hi guys, it's Liz Wheeler. Don't forget to watch my show, The Liz Wheeler Show, every night at 7 p.m. on the First TV. You can download the free First TV app, or you can visit thefirsttv.com/Liz and start watching today.